Good morning, everyone. My name is Ricardo Blackman, and it gives me an abundance of pleasure to welcome each and every one of you here this morning to this pre-conference breakfast and media briefing. Our talking point this morning, of course, is the 81st annual conference of the Barbados Labour Party, which, as you might be aware, takes place at Queen's Park on the last weekend of this month. That's the 25th, 26th, and 27th. I'm delighted to introduce members of the head table, beginning with the chairman of our conference planning committee on my immediate right, Comrade Kirk Humphrey. On his right is the public relations officer of our great party, the Barbados Labour Party, Comrade Antoine Williams. On his right is the General Secretary of the League of Young Socialists, Comrade Keel Trotman. And on my left, I've left the sweetest wine for the last. On my left is Comrade Rosemary Leon. By way of format, we shall commence with remarks. I should tell you that we are hoping to be joined later by our General Secretary, Comrade Dr. Jerome Walcott. But we'll commence, in any case, with introductory remarks by our conference planning chairman, Comrade Kirk Humphrey. And then there will be a question and answer session after that. I crave your cooperation, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen of the press, that we restrict the dialogue this morning to the conference of our party, which comes up next week. So without any further ado, I have much pleasure in inviting our conference chairman, Comrade Kirk Humphrey, to address you.
Thank you very much, Comrade. Good morning to all in the room, representatives of the media, my colleagues, persons on the planning committee of the 81st conference, who I believe I should say up front have done an outstanding job, and that we find ourselves on this day in a state of preparedness and ready to share with the Barbadian public what we've done for the year and our plans for the 81st conference. I should also say at the onset that we have taken the decision, because initially some of you might have known we were going to a different venue. We took a decision to move to the Queen's Park, where we believe that would be in keeping with the governance principles of the Barbados Labour Party. It is much more open. There's a spirit of camaraderie there. Barbadians associate Queen's Park with all things Barbadian. Just think about it on Christmas. We believe it is a natural venue and in keeping with the spirit of the renewed, reinvigorated Barbados Labour Party. We would also accept that the Barbados Labour Party has a principle of being very open in our governance. Principles, our approach to governance. Queen's Park is actually very close to the Parliament, and we have, as a party, taken an approach to have an open government. So everything that we do takes us to Queen's Park. As a party, our great leader, the Grantley Adams, has had many battles in Queen's Park. He's made many political pronouncements in Queen's Park. Queen's Park is at the spirit of who we are, and therefore we've made a determination that we would want to have Queen's Park. It is very accessible to the public, and we've determined that this year, this conference will be the People's Conference, and we want it to be as open, as accessible to everyone. We will make sure that there are facilities there for persons with disabilities. We actually have persons with disabilities on our program. The nature of inclusion that we speak of will be manifested at all phases of the conference that we're holding this year. And this being our 81st conference, I think it's important to begin by associating ourselves with what 81 means in principle. For those of you who would do some research, you would see that 81 is associated in literature with new beginnings, with a spirit of being refreshed, with being reinvigorated, and that is very much in keeping with who we are. and our approaches at governance over the last year and a half. We are therefore pleased to announce the theme for this year, which is in keeping with what we say as a government, which is also in keeping with the principles of 81. This year, the theme is BLP 2019, a refreshing change for Barbados. BLP 2019, a refreshing change for Barbados. And I think all of us would agree that our approach to governance and to government has been very refreshing. Indeed, we've taken an approach that all should be involved in the decision-making processes of the government. As a political party, we've made every effort to stay connected with the people and to make sure that when we make a decision in the Parliament that it reflects the will and that it has at its core the interests of the people of this country. We're happy for that. And I think we would all agree, given the events of the last 24 hours, that many Barbadians, as well as those in the international arena and anyone who has an eye on Barbados, have now shown a greater expression of confidence in the affairs of this country. You just have to take a look at the newspaper over the last 24 hours, the events of the last 24 hours. Before I say that though, take a look at what's happened as we planned this conference. We started out with a conference. We determined that we wanted to have private sector involvement, we wanted corporate support, and Corporate Barbados has been very supportive of the conference. Over the last few weeks, we've received tremendous support, and I think that in itself is a manifestation of the expression of confidence of which I speak. But if you needed greater convincing, in the last 24 hours, there were two announcements that I believe reflect and are tremendously indicative of the expression of confidence that people now have in our great country. The first would be that we have settled the announcement that we settled the external debt situation with our creditors. That augurs well for Barbados. There were people who were suggesting that we weren't able to do it. A lot of our persons on the other side who were attempting to critique were suggesting that the Barbados Civil Party was dropping the ball on this. Clearly, we've been able to settle it. We've been able to settle it in a way that reflects that we've been committed to purpose, and it preserves the interest, it preserves the integrity, and it will be for the future of all Barbadians. I believe in settling that situation. We've done very, very well, and that is one of the pronouncements that I believe reflect the expression of confidence. The other would be that in the last 24 hours as well, you would have heard that Marriott has invested $260.2 million Barbados dollars into this economy by purchasing Elegant. That again is a reflection in the way that we've governed the country, and there are many other examples. So when we say that Barbados Civil Party 2019 is a refreshing change for Barbados, it is more than just words. It is really who we are now as a country. And therefore, this is the theme for the conference this year. And there are going to be a number of things that we do this year during the course of the conference that reflect this. But it's important just to recall that over the last year, we've been to Parliament, I believe, as a government more than perhaps any other government. A number of changes were made, but that and all that we've done was via a consultative process. We've had participation on everything that we've done as a government. We've had consultations with the community, with the public. Again, if there's anything that speaks to a refreshing change, it is that Barbados is back on the international landscape. There is none, there is no one who could question the Prime Minister's leadership on a number of international, very complex, perplexing issues as it relates to climate change, the issues of global warming, our relationship with our financial sector. Her leadership has been outstanding. In fact, she's now become a global icon, and that, in terms of her leadership of the country, not only is she speaking more, but she's making a lot of sense and leading the Caribbean in a number of ways. This is also a refreshing change for Barbados. But in terms of the actual conference, over the next few days, we will put more and more announcements into the press, but these are the highlights of the few days. Day one, which is the Friday, the 25th, we begin at the Queen's Park. We're going to begin with very formal, well, very informal, really. What do you call a breakfast? Not breakfast. Cocktail reception. Cocktail. Where we're going to be having the persons to whom we're giving awards at the cocktail reception. All are invited again to Queen's Park on the Friday evening. On the Friday evening as well, we begin at 6 for the cocktail reception, but at 7 the actual business of the party begins. And one of the highlights of the Friday evening would be that our guest speaker is Comrade Roshana Trim. Roshana is a very young lady. She's head of the Barbados Youth Development Council. Yes. We believe that we've said that we wanted to be a party that reaches out to young people. And by having a young person spearhead our first night, we believe we're putting truth to the things that we've said. Roshana will be speaking for a few minutes, and all are invited to hear Comrade Trim. In fact, everyone is invited to the Barbados Civil Parties Conference over the next 3 days. The theme, a refreshing change, the principle of being open. It is the People's Conference. We wish to reiterate that all Barbadians are invited to the conference and to be involved in it. This is not a BLP conference, this is the People's Conference. But on the Friday, Comrade Trim, then we will go into our awards. We're recognizing a number of persons, some within the Barbados Civil Party, but many who are not members of the Barbados Civil Party. We're recognizing people for their contribution, for example, to sports, to youth, to the environment, and so on. So we believe that that is also going to be a refreshing change. The Labour Party will have, on the night of the Friday, a concert, and many members of Parliament will be performing as part of the concert. It is part of our give back, to entertain and to have a little levity with our people. So we will have a number of members of the Parliament being involved in the concert, but we also have persons who are not in the Parliament, persons who are supporters and persons who are not supporters of the Barbados Civil Party. Again, all are invited to the concert on the Friday evening. It is going to be a great time, and we would hope to see a number of Barbadians there. On day 2, which is the Saturday, we again have a number of things that are in keeping with this idea of a refreshing change. The first is that we've asked this year for 5 chairmen of boards or chairpersons of boards to report to Barbados. Again, it is the People's Conference. All are invited. We're streaming it to all Barbadians. So all Barbadians are invited. It's not a Barbados Labour Party thing. And this is the first time that this has happened at a conference. We're asking 5 chairmen, the chairman of the Port, the Transport Board, Barbados Water Authority, Sanitation Service Authority, and the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. These 5 chairpersons will report to Barbadians on their stewardship, reflect on the challenges, their leadership, the direction that they're going, and just to be part of that idea that we are an open, transparent, honest government. All are invited to watch that. Of course, the highlight of the day will be the Prime Minister's message at 4 p.m. The Honourable Prime Minister will address the conference and again the country, because the conference is carried live. And the Prime Minister will speak in great detail to the number of things that we've done over the last year and a half that reflect the refreshing change that we have been for the country. I invite all Barbadians here, abroad, everywhere, everyone who's interested in development to listen to the Prime Minister's message. It will be a powerful message, and it will not only speak to what we have done, but the things that we are likely to do as a government over the next few years that we have the honor to lead this country. On day 3, which will be the Sunday and our last day of our conference, we will, as always, we will have a church service. Again, everybody is invited. We've asked Pastor Elisius Joseph to lead the service this year, and we believe we're going to have an exciting church service. Our guest speaker will be the Honourable Mark Brantley, who's the Premier of Nevis and the Minister of Foreign Affairs for St. Kitts and Nevis. And Mark is an outstanding young man. Mark is, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, he's well in tune with the challenges that small island developing states are facing. He's well in tune with the need for us to fight on all fronts when it comes to climate change, the need for us to be one in relation to our battles in the financial services sector. As a small island, St. Kitts and Nevis being in population smaller than Barbados is, if people could believe it, he also faces the issues of size and what it will take for us to be able to put Barbados and the region back on the map. Therefore, he is in a unique position to speak to Barbadians and to Barbados and to the Caribbean as to the tremendous challenges we're facing and the reason why it is necessary for the Prime Minister to have taken the positions that she has taken in terms of her leadership of these issues in relation to small island developing states. And then on that day as well, we would have a number of presentations in the afternoon. Before that, we will have, for the first time reporting to the country as a candidate for St. Michael West, our comrade Chris Gibbs, who won the nomination last week Sunday. He will be speaking to the country for the first time as a candidate officially for the Barbados Labour Party in the next election. And I believe that many people would want to hear what he has to say. And then in the afternoon, we will report on our plans for Vision 2020, the gathering. You know, the Barbados Labour Party, as a government, have taken the decision that the year 2020 must be the year that Barbadians come home and talk about, you know, some of the things that they've seen, but also to spend time in their villages, go back to their roots. You know, there are many Barbadians who make a contribution overseas to speak to that contribution. Just an opportunity to have Barbadians come home and be Barbadians, and for us to interact with our comrades, our family, our colleagues who are overseas. We will also have a presentation on UNCTAD. Barbados has the opportunity, and this is a very big deal for the country, to host UNCTAD. It's the first time it has happened, and we will speak to that as well into the afternoon. Those comrades, colleagues, are some of the things that we will do deliberately associated with the conference. On the 25th of October, the Friday evening, I am pleased also to say associated with our conference is that Ishmael Roet, the former Speaker of the House, will be having an art exhibition called Through the Eyes of the Speaker, which opens in the Steel Shed on Friday. And it runs for the duration of our conference. All the items there will be on sale. Persons are invited to come and buy some of those items. And many of the proceeds will go toward the Barbados Labour Party. And it's not a profit-making exercise. We're asking Barbadians to come out and support the speaker. He's actually, having seen some of the pieces, he's actually a very, very talented artist. And therefore, all are invited. So comrades, colleagues, members of the media, these are just a few of the highlights that we have for the course of the conference over the 3 days that we are there, the 25th, 26th, and 27th. And I invite all Barbadians to come out and to participate. Thank you very much.
Okay, before I take you into the Q&A session, I'd just like to apologize for the oversight. As you are aware, this event is going live. It's being streamed, and I want to acknowledge the presence of two members of our dynamic communications team in Mr. Charlie Jong and Ricky Redmond. At this point, I be open to questions and answer. You may put your questions to Comrade Humphrey, questions that you may have arising from what he's just told you.
Sir, you mentioned Sharika Griffin from CBC.
You may identify yourself.
Good morning, Sharika Griffin from CBC. Minister, you would have mentioned that there's an award ceremony planned for Friday. Can you tell us some of the people who will be receiving awards?
Well, yes, we can. There's standing awards in the Barbados Labour Party. Every year there are awards that we grant to persons, but there are also awards that, you know, depending on the chairman of the conference or the spirit of the nation at the time, there are also awards for which we determine persons should be in receipt. This year, the environmental award, for example, I won't go through all, but the environmental award goes to Oasis Laboratories. And Oasis are the boys who are responsible for the young men, I shouldn't call them boys, the young men who are responsible for taking the sargassum seaweed and converting it into soap. As a matter of fact, I just saw that they're doing a documentary now with the BBC on this innovative work that they're doing in terms of the sargassum seaweed. We are giving the community award to Mr. Michael Young. He is with Aquarius Swim Sports. He teaches a lot of young people how to swim. If you've ever visited his camp, there are a number of persons there who are differently able. And it's more than just a swimming club. It is that really, it boosts your morale and so on. So those are just a few. The major awards for the Barbados Labour Party would be the Grantley Adams Award and the Milroy Reese. This year we're giving the Grantley Adams Award to Comrade Ronnie Carrington, and the Milroy Reese goes to Comrade Mrs. Wendy Knight Hunt. And this year we've determined that we want to add a David Simmons Award, and that award goes to Senator Damian Sands as well for his work. So those are a few. I mean, there are a number of other awards, but were to list them all, we would be here for a very long time.
Will there be Wi-Fi so that the media can
Yes, it's gonna.
do instant?
Oh, yes.
I must tell you, my comrade to the left of me, Comrade Ricardo, has been insistent that there will be Wi-Fi, and so there will be Wi-Fi for the media at Grantley Adams, for sure.
Yeah, you will have real-time coverage. Real-time coverage, yes.
for at Queen's Park, for sure.
Any more questions?
Are you going to be singing?
Am I singing?
Oh,
No, I'm not singing, but I must tell you, I'm actually performing, you know. Let me tell you some of the persons who are performing. Comrade Ranstron, everybody know he's an accomplished musician. He's performed a few times, actually. He'll be playing a musical instrument. Comrade Attorney General Dale Marshall has been fine-tuning his guitar. We expect him to play. I'm putting him under pressure here now. Comrade Adrian Ford will be dancing. Comrade Marsha Cattle singing. Comrade Dwight Sutherland singing. Comrade John King singing. Myself will be performing a little poetry. So it's going to be a very entertaining evening. So we expect to have lots of persons there. The other members of the party and the parliament whom I didn't call, they're also performing in case they should see me afterward and ask me why I didn't give them a plug. Look, this conference, truthfully, it's going to be one with a difference. You know, we're going to get on with the business of the party. We're going to do so in a manner that is succinct, in a manner that is clear, but one that holds the traditions of the Labour Party, where we treat the persons who will be receiving the honours with a certain degree of respect, reflecting the fact that they have worked hard either for the country and or the party. But we also want to have a moment of fun, and it is important for us to have that family, that fellowship. We are, after all, a party of the people. This conference, I reiterate again, is the People's Conference. We feel as if Barbadians have been very supportive of us during a very difficult time, and therefore we want to give back to the party, to the people. That is why you will see a number of persons performing. Comrade Antoine Williams will also be singing at the conference, so it is going to be an entertaining conference. Before we leave, in case y'all don't have any more questions, there's a panel discussion to be held tomorrow. It is going to be held by the League of Young Socialists. All are invited to the panel discussion. The theme of the panel discussion is 82 and beyond. And the panelists there will be The panelists there will be Comrade Jerome Walcott, Comrade Santia Bradshaw, Comrade David Simmons, and Comrade Shanika Roberts Odo. All are invited there. Again, it starts at 5 p.m. and it will be held at the great St. Michael's School. Are there any other questions?
Question from Mr. Atwell?
I'm just wondering how it's going to be set up. You said it's a church service on day 3, so how is it all going to be set up? Is it doing tent?
Yeah, there's a tent. If you pass Queen's Park now, the tent is already up. So the tent, there's a tent that we've set up. Everything will be held under the tent, and we plan to move seamlessly from one part of the conference to another part. There's a whole logistics team.
Exhibition is going to be at Mysterious Shed.
Yeah, there's a whole logistics team in place to make sure that the transitions are smooth. Comrade Victor Ames and Comrade Sonia will be responsible for that. No pressure. And the exhibition, by the former Speaker of the House, will be held in the Steel Shed. So, you know, all during the conference, we're inviting persons to go visit the Steel Shed and to see the amazing work that was done by the former Speaker of the House.
The same way during 2018 campaigning that the manifesto was available online. Is the agenda for this year's conference going to be available?
I will let Comrade Blackman speak to these details.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the booklet, the conference booklet, there's going to be an e-version of the conference booklet, so that you can access the booklet online.
When and is there? It'll be revealed accordingly, and is there a link to download from? I'm not sure about the link, but I know there will be one, and I know that it should be accessible in time for conference.
Before you move off, this is also part of the Refresh and Change. We've never done an e-version before, so the e-version will be out, we believe, at the same time that we release the official booklet. And there will be a link for the e-version. Sorry.
With regards to the 5 chairpersons who will be reporting, I just wanted to know if they will be reporting and fielding questions or just reporting.
We can't say that.
At this stage, it's difficult to tell because based on the length of time and so on that they have to relate to the public, I would tell you though that all that is of public interest will be revealed during their presentation, and that the bulk of the information that we believe is pertinent to the public, we've asked them to be open and to be transparent. And this is the first time that they will be doing it. There will be transparency during the course of the presentations, but there are 5 of them, and the time that we have to offer all 5 of them is limited. So if there is time, perhaps, but as it stands, we've asked them to deliver the information to the public. But there will always be a time for questions, even if not at the event.
Did we identify the 5 boards?
Do you need me to go over the 5 boards again, or you got them?
You have them, okay. Any other questions, members of the media panel? Okay, there being no further questions, let me take this opportunity on behalf of the Barbados Labour Party and the Conference Planning Committee to thank you very much for coming out in such large numbers to cover this morning's event, and I hope that the rest of your day will be as productive as this morning would have been for you. I would also like to thank fellow comrades who have turned out this morning to join us at this pre-conference event. Thank you very much. Do enjoy the rest of your day. I understand.